Hey, what's up, y'all? All right, we're going to pull my shirt down. Ooh. Ah. So let's discuss CNN's United Shades. I hope y'all enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. It just went off. I had to be a little late because they have Nancy Pelosi on after on CNN, so I wanted to see what she was talking about. She's one of my guilty pleasures. You know, she gets on my nerves, but sometimes I really like her too. So, all right, so let's talk about it. So, today, W. Kwame Bell, I just think he really outdone himself with this particular episode. I think this episode was great. I think how they did it was beautiful. They gave us some history, they gave us some new girl energy, they gave us some callbacks to the culture when it comes like the ball scene or, just tons of stuff. They had experts on, they had the religious piece. They just really did this really well. They really did this really well. So I wanted to kind of talk about it and see what's going on. Oh gosh, so let's see. This was really, really good. I wish your segment was longer though. Look, if you go on my Twitter, like right now, he just tweeted me. He said, let me make sure. Because I just said thank you for having me on. And he says, thank you. I wish we could have run just the whole conversation with you and Avatara. It was so fire as hell. Because in the conversation, we were only planning to go record like a 30-minute little set. And the whole point of us conversing, the whole point of us coming initially was to talk. I was to talk about Monica, like to talk about Monica Roberts. That's the reason why that's how it was sold to come on. But when we got there, we end up talking for like an hour and a half. And we was just killing it. It just was such a great back and forth conversation with us. Um, but also he put up an extra bonus if you want to hear some of our conversation. Um, he put up an extra bonus episode with me and Avatara. They are non-binary, and we talked a little bit further into the conversation. And so he posted on his Twitter some of the extras, and I posted it on Marsha's Plight Facebook, so you can go there as well. Yeah, but I was telling my friend Vanessa, I said, you never know how the edit is gonna go. They only have an hour. They only have an hour for the show. So look at all the people who were on there. And so what the narrative that they were trying to tell, I think what they did was beautiful. I think I am humbled just by being a part of it, but I, I feel like what they did was beautiful. They showed Camarian and her being a preacher, her being somebody that found solace in being in the church. They showed, I love the element of how every time she said something sickening, the bells would ring. That was low. I thought that was so cute and so on point. You can't make that shit up. It was so cute. I loved that. I loved what happened after that. I love the conversation between Nisi, Polka, and when they asked him, like, what do you think? Why are you asking us the question? You a cishet black man. What do you think you should be doing? Because the onus of oppression to stop oppression, The onus of oppression, if you are a part of the group that is at the hands of our oppression, particularly in Black trans women's um perspective. Now, we all know that if you look at the killers, when they actually do find some, it's usually Black men. So us, what we should do to stop our oppression is actually not, it's not right. I'm not asking no white people how, I'm not going to accept questions from white people telling me, um, how should we go about fixing the oppression? What should I do as the white person to stop racism? No, bitch, what should you do? Yeah, what should you do? You ask your people. You should be gathering your motherfucking people. Don't come to us. No. There's been books, there have been videos, there have been tons of passive things that you can watch and you can learn about oppression. You don't need to come ask us, what are you going to do about your people? How you going to gather your people? How are you going to step in when that locker room talk is happening and stop that shit and let it be known that it's not okay for you to have these transphobic conversations? It's not okay for you to be threatening to kill somebody. Well, if I found out, I would kill a motherfucker. No, that's not okay. No, it's not okay for somebody to trick you. No, that's not okay either. But it's not okay at all for you to threaten to kill people. That's not okay. That's not two equal things. Should you be angry for being deceived? Sure. But murdering somebody, that's not a life you gave. So this also shouldn't be a life that you can take away. You're not God. So have those conversations. Be strong enough, be standing your manhood, be a fucking man and say, yo, that's not okay. That shit's fucked up. And this is not just about trans women, it's about anything. Rapey ass conversations, disrespectful, grab motherfuckers by the pussy conversations. Those conversations, when you hear those kind of conversations, be a man, step up and say that shit is not okay. You feel what I'm saying? That's what I feel. You get what I'm saying? Those push back on them. I love that same thing. I love when the bald person asks Belle, what do you know? You know, all of these things. It's like, yes, when the people, they like to put our narratives on display. And don't get me wrong, I told y'all about this. When it comes to visibility and awareness, I think those are powerful tools for people to come to bring us out of the subculture, to bring us out of the dark, to bring us out of the murk and mire of society, where people can actually see us and see how we live. That is a beautiful tool, but it cannot stop there. It cannot stop at, you just see us, you hear our stories, you see the woe is me and do. You see that kind of stuff. That is a powerful tool of awareness, but it cannot stop there. It has to go to you. Does it push you to make a change in the peoples that are pulling at your heartstrings? Does it push you to make a change at your church? Does it push you to make a change at your job? Does it push you to make a change in your everyday cultural living? Because it's not just the systematic oppression, it's the actual culture in the hearts and minds of people. Is that shifting your heart and minds of people when you hear these sad trans stories and these sad trans narratives? If you're not shifting your hearts and mind, then it's not actually working. It's not actually doing what it needs to be done. Do you feel what I'm saying? Hey, Brandon. Hey, everybody. So I love that they had that pushback on there, because it is your job to shift the culture. It can't be that violence that is happening, in the conversation. Words are violence. When we talk about this, all this shit is like something Toni Morrison taught us. Racism is a problem that affects you. So what are you gonna do about it? Talking to the white people, what are you gonna? It's not just me. It's you. Racism is in y'all. So what are you gonna do about it? And then, words are violence. It's the predication. It's the precursor to the actual physical violence. Totally off topic. But you've lost weight. No, I haven't. I'm the same weight I've been for 6 months. I'm like 310, 320, and I've been that forever. I haven't lost weight. I'm the same. I wish. I don't want to be skinny, but I would love to be like 220, like 100 pounds from where I'm now. but but yes, another element. I loved I love the choice. This is a choice. I love the choice of recording a segment with Malaysia Booker's mother and her gay mother. That is a beautiful choice that we have never seen done. And if y'all have, please correct me if I'm wrong. I have never seen an interview done with a Black trans woman's mother and her gay mother expressing their feelings about a trans child. I've never seen that on TV. Have y'all seen that? Let me know if y'all have. W. Kamal Bell. I just never seen it, and I think that's beautiful. What I think it's an acknowledgement. What we have to acknowledge in for me. I don't want to say what we have to, but what I acknowledge, and not that I didn't acknowledge this, but what that gave me it was a visual acknowledgement of the importance of this is my biological mother. This is who, and it the accepting mother at the end reiterates this. This is somebody, this person coming out of me, I have an intimate relationship with because this is somebody who I felt. This is somebody who I felt kicking in my stomach. And on the birth certificate, why you motherfuckers is talking about on your birth certificate, it says male. The mother said, I'm the mother on the birth certificate, regardless of how y'all seeing this M to F. She don't say all this, but this is what the subtext. Regardless of how y'all seeing this M to F, I'm the mother on this birth certificate. So that's my title. And what am I supposed to do as a mother if this is my child? I'm supposed to love them unconditionally. I'm the mama. I'm supposed to love them. I'm supposed to be in their corner through what they get through. This is the baby that came out of me, that I was a part of their creation. God chose me as the vessel. So how could I not accept my child? How can I turn my back on a child that I felt that I hear their heartbeat during our ultrasound? I feel them kicking in my stomach. How can I turn my back on that and still honor that title of a mother that's on that birth certificate? How can I do that? I thought that was powerful. So to see the biological mother and then the mother who is the chosen one, anybody who have gay children, we love our gay children. We love them. We care for them. They can come sleep on our couches. They can, one of the few people that can come ask us for some coins that they might, if they need it, that they might get if we ain't broke, that they might get, they can come. You get what I'm saying? We love our gay children. We love them. Just like unconditionally, like, we didn't have them, but we love them. And but it's even, not even more. I don't want to say that. It's just a different kind of love. I'm choosing. Whereas, the mother, I guess she could have chose if, she had access to abortion. the cisgender mother, but I'm choosing to love you unconditionally. There's a connection that we are having, and I am choosing. I could easily run away, but I am choosing to stay in your corner because there's some type of connection here. I thought that was powerful. So to see both of them talk, and nothing is said on the lines of, I'm the real mama. And then I was at that funeral that they showed, Malaysia Booker's funeral. I was there in the audience. And if anybody knows what was happening prior to the funeral, there was a threat of burying Malaysia as a boy. And everybody was like, oh my God, like, don't do that. Like, come on. We was on her Facebook, like begging and pleading for her not to bury her as a boy, because her mother is one of those, mothers that, um, I don't feel like she was being fake on there, but she wasn't one of those mothers that was like accepting and fucking with Malaysia right before and all that kind of stuff. She wasn't that kind of mother. She was one of them late ones. So before the funeral, she was very much, I'm gonna bury my son like my son, and da 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 da. Now this is years after. So she could have, y'all seen a softer, different version of her. But because of the outrage of community, she actually made the chose, and I'm so proud of her. She actually chose to bury Malaysia as a girl for community's sake, for her people's sake. No, she was nothing like the mother at the end. She was they weren't even fucking with each other like that. Mm-mm. That may be where she is now after her child has died, but during the process, it was very clear that she wasn't fucking with that trans stuff. But at the funeral, it was a whole different thing. And that's why she kind of conveyed to you about the younger daughter, because the younger sibling got up there and did her thing. And that's what they showed y'all, how the younger sibling was like, yeah, I got introduced to my brother, but my sister transitioned and I loved her even more than my brother. She was my sister. And I think just like my youngest sibling would do the same thing. The dynamic is different. Where your parent might hold on to some shit. And she was conveying in her conversation that I miss my little boy. And you telling me that I felt my baby was perfect. And you're telling me that there's something wrong with you. Why are you thinking something wrong with you? You was a perfect little boy when I had you, that I loved and cared for. And you trying to think something wrong with you, like you supposed to be a girl. What? That's how, and sometimes it's hard for parents to get over that. Not saying that it's right, but that's just what it is. Oh, it ain't even no maybe, Shawnette. That's definitely. Being accepted and having an accepting community, it takes your risk down drastically. Of anything, of poverty, of disease, of drug addiction, of anything that could go wrong in your life. When you have family support and community to help you get through anything, it takes your risk of having those problems in your life down. That's just how it works. That's just statistics. That's the numbers. That's the facts. When you have family acceptance and support and a community in your corner, your risks go down for any of that bullshit. I think all parents have a vision of who they want their child to grow into, and reality rarely lines up with that vision. Yeah. By choice and by sometimes they just can't. They don't have the skill. You want me to be this doctor and I don't want to do that shit. um and I don't think that is wrong. I want to make that clear too. I don't think that it is wrong for parents to I don't think that it is wrong for parents to have a dream or a vision of their children. I think that's natural. I think it's natural for you to bring this little baby person in the world and you think about where it could be. Your hope, being a good parent, to me, being a good parent is about helping this human little child to become a productive citizen in the world and to be and not have some of the problems that you had and not deal with some of the things that you dealt with, to really come into the world with some type of go into the world with a foundation. If you're a good parent, that's what you want them to, that's what I think, that's what you do. And so what comes along with that is what you envision for your child. Does it always go that way? No. Not even rarely does it go exactly how you want it to go. Because this is a human being with their own minds and their own beliefs and their own experiences. And so it's not gonna, their life is not gonna go where yours was. Because, honey, you basically 20, 30 years before them. And so what you went through and what is not going to be exactly the same. It makes them feel as though they did something. If they accomplish things, yes. It definitely is it's a reflection. Good children, and I use good loosely. Good, because that's relative and subject, but children that turn out to be positive influences, or these not perfect specimens, or these good human beings. They're not going to prison, they're not going to jail, they're not raping, killing, doing whatever the societal bad things are. They're not doing those things regardless of what people want to try to act like. Those things not only reflect on the person, it reflects on the parent. Because that's the first thing they're going to ask. If something go wrong, they're going to say, where's the mama and the daddy at? They're going, if something go wrong, they're going to bring up, oh, they lived in a single parent home. Or they're going to bring up, where's the parents? They're going to bring up the lacking or the positive. Oh, you see somebody, I remember when I was younger, I would if I act like I had some sense at somebody's house, they would say, yes, they would say, oh, you had some good rearing. They would assume, they would never assume that I was raised by a single mother drug addict. They never would assume that. Even though that's where I got my ring from, my mother. My mother taught me how to act over people's houses. But they were assumed. I'm not 100% for sure on that. Could be. I'm not 100% for sure. I think so. I think she did. I think she had some type of relationship with him. Because if I remember, I think he was at the funeral. Because I was at the funeral. Me, Monica, and Dee Dee. If you go on my website, which is down in the bottom, in my About Me section, there is a video of me at Malaysia funeral with Monica and Dee Dee, and we did a piece with Al Jazeera. And that's on my website. So y'all can check that out too if y'all want to see that. And some home training, yes. So it's always a reflection, a positive reflection, and can be a negative reflection depending on what the child did. So that they're invested in, there is a small, and sometimes it's an unhealthy investment, and sometimes it's just a healthy small investment of how you reflect them. You reflect them in a positive way. And sometimes that investment is too strong, where they want to control every single thing about your life. They want to control every single thing about your life. And then you, if you do something wrong, bam. But that's also what I don't want to talk. I'm not talking about trans everybody. I'm just telling you my sometimes I'm speaking from my experience, or a common experience that I have, because I know a lot of trans people, grew up around a lot of trans people. It's a common experience that I've heard. There is a level, even when your parents are accepting, there is a level of shame. There is a level of disappointment. There is a level of failing at being what is expected of you as a child, that is in to me innately a part of the trans experience. When I decide that I am going to go live my truth, I can't help these feelings. This is my truth, and I'm just going to live it. That is me also deciding to abandon what I think is expected of me as my parents' child. And it's particularly, I don't want to, no, I'm not going to say that. No, I can say it because of how the structure of society is. I think it's particularly poignant when you are a male child because there is less fluidity in how a man is supposed to perform. And it's not saying that a girl child doesn't experience it at all, but there is more fluid of what a woman can do. It just feels like there is more fluid of what iteration a woman could be. Are they police? Absolutely. But it's something about a male child, and we're going to talk about this Thursday. That there's a rigidity that is, there's not many iterations of what a good male child looks like. And so I know for me, as being the oldest boy, if you're the only boy or the oldest boy, it gets real because there's an expectation of you. Even passing on a name. A girl doesn't pass on her father's name. A girl doesn't pass on the family name. The girl is supposed to get married and take her husband's name. So whoever the baby she has, that's taking the husband's name. The male child is taking the father's name and is supposed to, society-wise, take the name and pass it on. But if I become a trans woman and I don't have no children, the name dies with me. They don't want to explain why they're standing by their child. Boom. And that's so weak. It's such a weak thing. And you're not even fucking learning what your child is kind of teaching you. Like your child, ironically, the names are of absentee fathers anyway, a lot of the times, not always. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that. Most of the trans women I know, their fathers are in their life. Not all of them, but most of them. They have connections with their fathers. Mm-hmm. Hey, Kareem. So I thought that was beautiful. I thought that was beautiful to see the two mothers. And then what was next? The all for one girls, bringing up the dating portion. We've talked about that many times. Bringing up the dating portion and some of the things that they were talking about. Were just classic things that we talk about in regards to dating men, like the safety of online dating. How it's really about you accepting you. It's not really about you accepting my tea. I'm accepting my tea. I'm doing my thing. Look at me. Um, Oh, Sharon, yes. Now, now anybody knows that I love me some motherfucking Sharon Grayson. I love me some Sharon Grayson. Um, Sharon had to come down here for some surgery. She was in Little Rock and she had some surgeries that she needed to get down here in Houston. So she had to drive down here, and I was so excited to see her. We went out to dinner, and she's just a I like them. Is their podcast still active? I really don't know. I don't really know. I thought they were on YouTube. The All for One girls. I've only seen them on Facebook Live. I don't know what's going on with them now. Um, I don't know what's going on with them now. They're fairly new, and I try to share. Y'all know I'm technically, I don't know. Y'all tell me if I'm wrong. I don't know. No, we've been around for almost since 2017. This will be our 4th year in October. It's 4 years of us going strong. We March's Plate been around um for about 4 years, and I don't know no podcast is older than us as far as like trans-led podcasts. We was kind of before our time. And I try to share podcasts that I know. When I hear about them, I'm not one of the people that feels competitive. I'm not one of them people that feels competitive where I can't share other people. But so I share anybody I see. If I see their shit, I share it. Um, especially if I know they cool people and they talking about some stuff. Now, if I get on there and you on some weird shit, I'm not sharing it no more. I might share it the first time because I didn't do my research. But if you get on there, because this one podcast, I used to share them all the time, but then they got on there and they was on some anti non-binary shit, and it was just so toxic and gross. I don't share them no more. Sorry. I think that's I don't like that. I don't like that shit. Um, so I don't share them no more. But when I didn't know what they were talking about, I shared them just because they were trans and doing the podcast and doing the show. So yeah, that's what I did. um, they don't last long. Even the indie girls, I was sharing theirs and they just stopped. You know what? Ty, I went to Indianapolis and they were supposed to have when I went there for my mom passing, they were supposed to have me on the show, but I guess they didn't record. But no, I ain't gonna say that. you know, Tia invited me. I don't know if the other girls wanted me on, but Tia invited me. So I don't know if it was they didn't record or they just didn't do it no more or um but yeah, Tia invited me on the show and we planned a time for us to record and it didn't happen. So I don't know. I don't worry about anybody but my babies, my creations, and we've been around nonstop. We take a break in October for a month just to self care and do our thing. But for the past 4 years, starting in October, um, October is our anniversary, so about 3.5. We we have been going strong. So I try to share everybody and most of the people who I have had on my show, any I'm trying to think of any podcast that I know of, they have either one of the hosts has either been on my show or I have mentioned them, linked them. I just try to be I thought y'all been around for 2 years. Nope, we started October 2017. Nope. October 2017, baby. That was our first episode, October the 5th. We've been around for a while. That's why recently Apple, they shaded Apple because Apple they were talking about Apple not promoting any Black trans podcasts on their app, on their podcast section, and people were bringing up Spotify, and I was like, well, Spotify featured us last year. We've been featured on Spotify. We were the first, one of the first podcast shows, period, to be on Pandora, because Pandora didn't just let everybody in the beginning. Now anybody can get on it, but in the beginning, Pandora's podcast space, Pandora's podcast space was invite only. You could only get on it by being invited by the people at Pandora, and we were the only trans podcast on there. One of the only LGBTQ. I think it was us, the Reed. Yeah, it was a long time that I can't remember anybody else. But it was a long time. We were on iHeartRadio. Now iHeartRadio, anybody can get on it, but we were one of the first people to be on iHeartRadio. It was an invite. It was an invite only, but there was no other trans podcast to invite. So I don't want to act like, oh, we were the cream of the crop. It wasn't that. Not that we wasn't. We was fire. We had sickening professional quality. We had sound, a professional quality sound, because I set up my whole dining room to be a studio. It sounded good. Now we recording through fucking Zoom, so it doesn't sound as sickening as it used to sound because of COVID. But you know, at the time we were recording in the studio, and it sounded amazing, and we did our thing, and so people loved us. So Spotify featured us, Pandora, iHeart. We've been on Apple, but anybody could be on Apple. Apple has always been open to all. Anybody could be on Apple. Anybody can be on Stitcher. Anybody can be on SoundCloud. Anybody can be on iHeartRadio now. It used to be more exclusive. Anybody can be on anything now because podcasting is coming up as a genre, a passive genre, passive entertainment, where you can just listen to it and go on, like during your commutes, during your stuff like that. So yeah. But anyway, let me go back to CNN while I'm talking about the podcast. But yes, All for One, I was surprised that they were on there because they were fairly new. But Sharon Grayson, for them to go through Sharon Grayson's history, Sharon Grayson is one of the there wouldn't be. So when we talk about you know, there's certain activists that we wouldn't know about if it wasn't from people like Sharon Grayson. She was doing her thing in San Francisco and then came and started doing her thing in Dallas. When it comes to activist space and writing grants and doing all that kind of stuff, she was doing her thing. And, you know, being an entertainer all around the country. You know, when being trans, that's another thing that happens with visibility. Let's talk about this too. I don't want to say being trans was a great thing, like living the life in a normal day to day, but because of the novelty of being trans, because being trans was a novelty, and people like Christine Jorgensen, people like Lady Java, people like Sharon Grayson, you actually could have a career traveling with cisgender artists as this novelty thing, and actually opening acts to things, because it was so novel. You actually could have a career. And so, that can be kind of, you know, that's that double-edged sword of visibility. Lady Java set the world on fire. Yeah. She was fucking rumored to be dating tons of black celebrities. Did she mention how the cisgender act treated her backstage? No, she in our own personal friendship, yes. It wasn't any negative. Like it wasn't politically correct, but they weren't treating her late. It's kind of like I bet the way she talks when we connect and when we hang out, and the way I think we've talked about this. There was when I moved to Mississippi and I engaged with the dudes in Mississippi. Because culturally Mississippi was so, and I was in the rural Mississippi. I wasn't in the city, but even there it was so backwards. Not backwards, just it wasn't where it needed to be. So I'm coming from Indiana. When I first moved there when I was 18, I'm coming from a city in a place where my best friend is a trans woman like me. I have tons of gay friends. There are multiple trans women who are living their life as trans women that I know. There's a whole community of trans women. We had Stacia Renee Onassis, we had Strawbella Be a Goddess, we had Zori Zanel, we had Vicky Chatterfield, we had early on, she hadn't died yet, got murdered yet. We had Daytoria, we had Reese, we had Sizzle and Sandra, Christine, we had who else? She moved in 98. Toy, Tracy. Who else do we have? What other trans women? Tons. Bear. Man, I don't know if I want to count Mang, but man, it was so many girls that you could pick out, like that were living their lives. Y'all remember Chili, she was a fucking manager at fucking White Castle for years. Chili. It just was so many girls doing different things in my city. So a trans woman living full time as a trans woman where I came from was so normal. It was so normal in my mind. Not normal as it pertains to the cisgender culture, not normal like that, but normal in the sense that I would see them. I would hang out. They would be out and about. We would see them. We would see them at the club. We would see them at the skating rink. We would see them at the mall. We would see them. It was normal for me to know trans women, white and black. Like all. I don't think I knew any Latin ones. Did I know any Latin trans women growing up? Years later, yes, but when I was like in my teens, I don't remember any Latin trans women. Not that I remember. Anyway, yes. So, yeah, I don't remember any Latin trans women. I'm sure they might have been around, but I didn't meet them. Anyway, so when I went to Mississippi, this was not the norm. When I went to Mississippi, there was because of the oppression of queer people in this state, in this city. I was in Jackson at the time, and definitely when I was in the rural areas in Walnut Grove. In Walnut Grove, there were no trans women, period. Only one dude that was gay. He had a wife, but everybody assumed he was gay because it seemed like it was obvious, but he did have a wife and some kids. But everybody was like, and not just him, like everybody was like, He got a wife. It was very that. But there was definitely no trans women there until I went to a club and I met this girl, and they called her by her boy name, full boy name, and they would put Miss in front of it. It was very old school, same way it was in Indiana. Like the old school people, like the Butch Queens who were feminine. Like we had Miss Goodall. We had moments like people like that where we called the boy queens Miss, and they were still doing that in Mississippi. And the girls weren't full time. The girls would be at nighttime getting dressed, being women in their home. But when they would go out in public, it was very few girls that were going out in public full time as women. And that was abnormal to me. There was only 3 girls that I knew in Mississippi. Well, 4 that I met later. That was full time. We had Keith, rest in peace. Keith has passed away. Tiffany, Carmen. Yeah, Carmen still's my Judy, just still my bitch. What's up, Carmen? She watches. Hey. And then Miss Tracy. Miss Tracy was one of the only sex changes. Tracy went to prison. She's the first person to ever pump me. She actually went to prison for killing somebody with silicone, and she was the only sex change that I knew at that time. And so I say all of this to say this: it just was the amount of trans women was so low, like so low in the community, that when you meet dudes in Mississippi, they had no kind of preconceived notions about transness. So you were their response to you, or how they were conditioned to respond to you, was non-existent. She died in prison, yes. It was kind of non-existent in the sense of, like if you, back where I'm from, when you would meet a dude, even now, like when you meet dudes, because they either have ran into trans women, or they've seen Jerry Springer, or they have even if they had never met one, when they meet you, they have a preconceived notion about how they should, or what they would do if they respond to you. How they would respond to you. And so when I would meet dudes in Mississippi, particularly in the rural, they would have nothing. Like I would say I'm trans and they wouldn't know shit. They wouldn't know. They wouldn't know what is trans? What's that? And be serious. Like, what's that? And then you try to explain to them, and they like, I don't know what the fuck that shit is. I don't know what that shit is, but what, you a girl to me. And they wouldn't have the right things to say, but they didn't even know they hadn't learned to treat you in a negative way. And so they're just treating you like a girl because they don't know what else to do, because I ain't never heard that shit you talking about. So how am I supposed to treat you? You a girl, right? Yeah. And even if you explain all the tea, they like, oh, you look like a woman to me, so I'm gonna treat you like a woman. And it will just go. And it will happen like that so often in the rural areas that I can't, and I say all of that to say this. I can't imagine when she was in those spaces, because transness wasn't this national conversation. It was still in the dark. People didn't have a way to respond to it so negatively. It was like, oh, okay, I know what you're talking about. You just here doing the entertainment. Ooh, I know what you are. I know you used to be a boy, or it might be politically incorrect to our ears, but they weren't conditioned by all of the propaganda to be violent to us. They weren't conditioned by all of the bullshit to be negative to us. Now we have people saying, oh, I would have did this. If this was me, I would do that. We've had this kind of cultural conversation that gives that has put men and haters and in a position to actually think about what I would do if I met a trans person. And so if they're in the barbershop with 10 niggas and they're a dude who hadn't thought about what would I do if a girl tell me she's transgender while I'm in the club? What would I do if I'm texting this chick and she tell me she's transgender on the phone? And if they have that conversation, these conversations that shows like Jerry Springer sparked, these conversations that Oprah and her special sparked, different specials that bring up the trans topic. If they have this in a barbershop setting, this talk, and there is 10 niggas in there, and one of them say, oh, I'll kill that bitch. Hell, fuck no, da-da-da-da. That is conditioning all 9 of them other dudes to believe that that is how you react to meeting a trans woman. I should be angry. I might not think about I should kill him, but I should be this angry because that dude is angry. It gives them the chance to think about it. But prior to us being on this platform and having this kind of cultural conversation happening, people didn't think about what they would do. So when you would meet them, they didn't have any preconceived action that they should do. And so their action is more natural. It's more like, oh, and maybe they not gonna mess around with you, but it doesn't automatically go to violence. Like, ooh, I gotta protect my manhood because this is a man and I'm supposed to be angry about this. I'm supposed to be mad about this. And I'm supposed to react into violence to assert my manhood. That's what they're being taught. That's what's the lesson when they have these kind of conversations. Previously, there weren't conversations that were being had like this. And that's why Christine Georgeson can have a career. That's why Miss Sharon can have a career opening up for these people because they weren't conditioned to be violent about it. That is one of the ramifications of that time in our era of media with, Jerry Springer, Donahue, Jenny Jones. We even had a situation with Jenny Jones where I don't know if it was a gay dude or that that somebody got murdered based on a fucking show. And so it conditions on a public level that you're supposed to fight and be angry and be on this stage and fighting. It conditions that you're supposed to react this way. And I don't think that they had that in this time. Yeah, I think was it a trans woman? Yeah. So I think that we have gone, what we're seeing now, what we're seeing now is those chickens, those eggs, those chickens coming home to roost. Those seeds of negativity that were planted while, I said it was a double-edged sword. While the visibility and conversation and understanding that, because there was a time when I looked at those shows as a trans person and this was the only representation. So it was kind of like, oh, wow, there's other people like me. It wasn't the best depiction, but it was something. Do you see what I'm saying? We didn't know who was telling even a close to us narrative at the time. I don't even remember anybody doing a close to us narrative. Mm-hmm. Yes, it was a difference. And I think prior to that, because think about prior to that kind of narrative, what was before that? That was there was Paris is Burning. There was and Paris is Burning, it still handled, it wasn't a perfect depiction, but it still handled the storyline of trans womanhood with a level of tenderness. It was a level of reality. When they talk to the young Octavia Saint Laurent, when they talk to Venus, when they talk to the trans women in that show, it's still, when they, what's her name, Angela Extravaganza, is her name Angela? I can't remember. Angie Extravaganza. When they talked to the trans women in there, it was a tenderness around around how they told the story. It was a real shit. You remember when she was talking about her dreams of what she could be? Um, yeah, we had Crying Game that was fucking weird and shocking and Disclosure goes through all of this, so definitely look at Disclosure. Eddie Murphy, the rumors of Eddie Murphy being on the down low and picking up trans women and da 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 da. It was like it wasn't as negative. Teddy Pendergrass getting caught with a trans woman. He was in the car with a trans woman when he got in the accident that paralyzed him. That whole thing, it wasn't the violent stuff that we would see later on in the 90s and early 2000s. It wasn't the violence. I don't remember seeing trans women being depicted in violent situations prior to those 90 elements. Who else was in violence? Most of the time, it was them being violent. Like, it was the trans women being crazy, like Buffalo Bill, all the stuff that Disclosure went on. It was no response. I didn't see a response of that. The response was different. Yes. And it's not, and I won't say that there was no murders or attacks happening, because we had Transgender Day of Remembrance before this time, or we can clock how many it was, but I'm seeing a rise. I know we have seen a rise, a statistical rise of our deaths since those era of time, because I think we were training the culture to respond to us in a certain way. I don't remember a time in my pre-2000 years, pre-2000. I don't remember a time when a nigga was trying to fight me because I was trans. Now, getting bullied at school, that stuff, yes. But I'm talking about I tell my tea and somebody try to fight me for telling my tea. I don't remember none of that shit happening. I don't remember it prior to 2000. Any incident that I had with somebody trying to be violent because of my tea happened after 2000. Thank you, Brandon. Yeah, I don't remember when we got in fight with niggas. Like when we at pre-2000, like high school, because I graduated in 99. So when I got in fight with dudes prior to that, it was about our transness, but it wasn't about us disclosing it. It was we on the bus being ourselves, going home from a club or going home from the mall, and motherfuckers is talking shit, and we talk shit back, and it erupts. It'll be shit like that, like on some don't disrespect us, or we gonna disrespect you, and then it escalates up from there. It would never be, oh, I'm telling my tea, and then the people getting violent. It was never that for me. Bullying and shady stuff, fighting because of that, yes. But disclosure, that never ignited violence prior for me. You have niggas talking shit, and I'm not saying it doesn't happen other places or in somebody's other situation, but where I was from, it didn't. They'd be like, "Ooh, no. Ooh, no. Mm-mm. That's not how it works. No." oh, I'm not into that. It'll be, they'll be disgusted, or they'll say something, something like that, but it wouldn't be they want to fight. I never had that experience. This is before there was this message of the gay agenda narrative. Yeah. hmm So what else happened? So we had Miss Grayson. Just the history of that. You have somebody who runs the gambit, who saying somebody who is living now, who was there and transitioning in the 70s, and like Mama Gloria in Chicago. There's a trans movie coming out on the History Channel called Mama Gloria, about this trans woman named Mama Gloria that was the transition early in Chicago, and it's a beautiful story. I was able to, when they showed it to the world for the first time, I was able to host the premiere with Mama Gloria, and interview her at the end of the premiere, and interview her when it first came out. So now it's about to be on TV for the first time because it's an independent film. So make sure y'all support it if y'all see it. Yes, and the DL brother really ignited it. I think that made the hate. I don't think that was specific to us, but because we at the time, Vanessa, because we were bunched in with the gay men story, I think we had some ramifications of that. There were some consequences of JL King's DL brother reveal, which happened in like 2004. But that whole DL narrative of niggas being DL causing the rise in HIV stats in Black women. Yeah. That quick Miss Major shout out was nice too. Yes. There's some politics around that, but I don't want to discuss them publicly. um but yes, what was next? Then we saw me and Avatara. So one of the things what we talked about really deeply is the inequities. I think what I like about my position, um, Diamond Stylz with a backstory. Yeah, there's um what I enjoyed about my segment on the show is, while it was short, honey, it was the segment about the expertise of transness and the inequities and the social structures and all that kind of stuff. Because I'm not just one of the girls with the story. I'm an expert on the girls and the culture. And so for me, I enjoy that was where they introduced our segment, because that's what I want to be. I don't want my story to be just me telling y'all my story where it's just, oh, woe is the tranny experience. Oh, oppression. Oh my God. No, I don't want to just that. I think one that's another negative. I think that the beauty of our life is not just in our trauma. The importance of our life is not just in our trauma. The the significance of our life is not just in our trauma. I think that the beauty of living this life, while there are bad shit, there is shit, definitely. But the beauty that I have experienced through my friendships, through my experiences, how to stand up and be a person with integrity, how to stand up and say, this is who the fuck I am. Do you know how many human beings on this earth never in their life stand up and be who they are? They are following what their parents want them to do. They are following what society wants them to do. They are doing shit. Their whole life revolves around pleasing other motherfuckers. My life has taught me that I don't give a fuck. I am doing what I think is right, what I know to be the truth, and I'm going to stand in it. There's a certain level of beauty and power that comes with that. You are an example to so many people about standing in your truth and standing in your integrity and believing in yourself. There are so many cishet men that have came into my inbox that no, I didn't inspire them to be queer, inspire them to be gay, or inspire them in that sense, but they have affirmed and said, you are one of the people in my life that taught me how to be a man, that taught me how I can stand up and be who the fuck I am. If I can see this person that everybody talks about, everybody got something to say, everybody is snickering, everybody is saying this, and this motherfucker is standing and walking these hallways and walking and saying, this is who the fuck I am. And so what? What the fuck? What you gonna do? How can I invalidate that person and at the same time be the weak motherfucker who think that shit is wrong but don't want to say it? or who has a belief and I can't stand up in it, and this motherfucker is supposed to be the punk and the weak one, and they walk in these hallways with motherfuckers bothering them, and they still like, yo, what's up? You trying to thump? What's up? Because that was me. You ain't gonna be my ass. You can call me all the facts you want, but you ain't gonna come in my face and tell me. You can call me all the mans you want, but you ain't gonna come in my face and tell me that shit. I think in my mind, it's more to us. When you're in love relationships, and I don't know, everybody hasn't experienced this, so I can't speak for everybody, but I have been in love. And when you have been in love as a trans woman, feeling that feeling in juxtaposition of the hate, that is so sweet. It is so healing. So much so that I don't think I really need it again, because I want it again, but I felt it so deeply that in juxtaposition of the world, you're not to shit on your cisgender relationships, but yours is the norm. Yours is what's supposed to be. What about a motherfucker who love you and it's not supposed to be? What about if a motherfucker loved you so much that he said, I don't give a fuck if my people know, I don't give a fuck if my homeboys know, I don't give a fuck what, you're mine, I'm yours, and for this one moment in time, fuck everybody. I don't know. That's having experienced that. Having experienced that in my life is a blessing, and I actually don't need it again. Do I want it? Sure. Will I take it? Yes. But because I have experienced it, that can hold me for the rest of my life. I've experienced it, and there's a joy in that. There's a beauty in that, because if we can create that moment, if me and my lover at the time could create that moment, imagine anybody else situation that can be a difficult kind of love, a real love where y'all care about each other, and you under any other less oppressive circumstances. If we can do it, y'all can do it. And so just the fact that I have experienced it was a beautiful thing. When we talk about the impact that I'm having on the young children that I was raised around in my life, the young ones. Marsha's Plate has a episode called some what are the high schoolers are doing, or what the young folks are going to be okay, or it's my cousin Allie. It's my cousin Allie. She was born in 2021. So she is 20 years old. Not 2021, 2001. I'm sorry, 2001. So she now this year she turned 20. And so I have been in her life since the beginning. She's a twin. Um, and having her on my show when I had her on my show when when I went to her high school graduation, and having her on my show and her coming out on the show, revealing not that she's just gay, but that she's queer and that she is navigating a queer space, actually coming out to me on the show, and her indicating to me that I was a significant part of her being comfortable, just her being comfortable. And for me, that is beautiful. That is my joy, knowing that I was an example for her, for all her siblings, knowing that I was they're gay people who hit me up saying I wasn't ready to come out when I was in high school, but you being there helped me feel seen, even though I was still in the closet, but you just was an inspiration. There's trans girls who or they were trans then and didn't, they hadn't transitioned yet, or they were butch queens and they'll transition later on in life. But they will come up to me and say, I remember when you went to Jackson State. I remember the shit you would go through. And I remember thinking, damn, that couldn't be me. I ain't that strong. That bitch strong. And now they're in their they're in their they're in their lives living it, portraying that same strength. And it's coming full circle because now they see me on CNN, they see me on stuff, and they like, this bitch been doing this. That's super affirming. It's just affirmations for my work, affirmation for all the shit that I've been through. Brandon State Lincoln. um, all the shit that I've been through. I mean, in the moment it feels shitty. Don't get me wrong. In the moment it feels shitty. And in the moment that I'm getting approached in that kind of way, I feel like, man, I wish y'all was open when we were back then. I wish I were open because we could have had a whole little community, and I wouldn't have felt like I was standing on the show on this hill on this soapbox alone. I wish I had all these people who said you were a beacon. It could have been a whole different experience for us because we would have had community in the school. You feel what I'm saying? So I wish, I wish, but I'm not mad because I know girls who didn't grow up around with any girls, anybody. I did have a clique of friends. It was me, Ty, Kiever, um, Cliff, who else? And I had my friend Mario. I had people that I could confide in. Me and Mario never stopped talking. Even Mario left high school when I left Arlington. We went to Arlington when I was a freshman. He left high school sophomore year and went to Warren Central, was a whole nother school. But ever since that moment we met, our first year of freshman in the gym, first period, there was not a week that went by in our life that we didn't talk. Me and Mario talked more than anybody else in my life, period. Nobody else. I talked to Mario more than anybody else in my life until a year before he passed away. And so I always, even when I was in college, I always talked to him. He had my number to my dorm. He would call because he had on his landline, his mama had got unlimited long distance local calls. So he could call me. And it wouldn't run the phone bill up. So we talked all the time. And so I had a community of people that I could but I wish that I had more. I wish that there was more people. Definitely Jackson State taught me how to stand in my own truth because I didn't have no friends. I didn't even have the cisgender girls to be friend like I did, at least in the past, the cisgender girls to be, hey. But even in college, maybe even them, they was kind of late. So I didn't, in the beginning, I befriended some people. But yes, just to see that different type of to see myself depicted on the show as the expert, not just telling my story. I love that. That's what I want to be. I don't want to be just another trans story. I want you to know that I can give you the full body story of the trans experience based on not just mine, but research and academia. And then we saw the experience of an accepting mother and the girl who was the fashion designer, which I thought was cute. And then they touched on drag. And I have said this, I have talked about this when it comes to the controversy around RuPaul not putting trans women, black trans, not just black, but any trans woman on his show about drag. You do not have real drag if it does not include trans women doing the drag, because we have always been in the drag circles. Is there butch queens who just live as boys and to just do drag? Absolutely. That is something that happens. Absolutely. But there has never been a drag show bar that I have ever been to in my life that didn't have at least one trans drag queen. I've never been to a trans bar that didn't have one trans drag queen on the cast. I've never been to one. So, and it may be anecdotal, and y'all tell me if y'all wrong. I haven't watched it, so I don't know. I didn't even know it existed. I know she had did something, but I didn't know what it was called. But I'll look it up and see. Yes. But y'all tell me if I'm wrong. Have y'all been to a drag show that didn't have a transsexual, a trans drag queen that lived her life as a woman out, in her womanhood, out on her regular life, but she was a drag queen too. That was a part of her gig, her money making. I've never been to a place that didn't have a trans full-time drag girl. I don't know. I just never, definitely not in no major city. Never have I been. In the South, all the drag queens are trans women. Definitely a lot of them, not all of them, but most of them have been. It's been more than one. Yes. If the girls ain't in the show, it ain't a show. A, it ain't a show, and B, it's boring. So yeah, I don't. It's at least one, at least. Only an American pageant and bar that support only American. Do I know any of the names of those clubs? Right. Yeah. So if it's American, so if anybody don't know the context of that, America pageant different pageants, they're known for different things. So the America pageant system, Miss America, not the cisgender one, but the gay one, never. And I'm 52, out since 2021, right? Out since 21, right? Never. America pageant is more for boy queens, like the boy queens who they live as men, they don't have any surgeries. Sometimes they be having nose and cheeks and shit, but we ain't. I digress. They don't usually have surgeries. They usually live as men, and they do drag as the artistry that it is, and that is what it is. So when you have Continental, that's more for trans women. You know, they got all the surgeries. The point is to look like the part, quote unquote. Like, you know, you look like a woman. It's very soft and cunt. The point of Continental is you a woman. I don't know. It's only one boy queen that I know, maybe two, that won Continental. I'm trying to think. Maybe two. I don't know. But yes, most of the people who have won Continental are the girls. Now there's a few that went through, boy queens that went through. So but most of them are the girls. And so then we got USA. Now, how do I just explain USA? USA is more glitzy. Boy queens win it. Maybe two. Yeah, it might be two. I definitely know one, but it might be two. I can't. Could be two. USA is more. You have more boy queens participating in USA. It's like the the middle ground of between America and Continental. Like you going, honey, it's gonna be if it's a girl that's sickening, she gonna be the winner. But you know, you see more boy queens that fuck around with USA. And then you have EOY. EOY is Entertainer of the Year. That's more about your actual talent. That's more about your you know, honey, your stage presence, what show you put on, like your Entertainer of the Year, the talent that you bring to the table. It's not necessarily about the look. Now you want to look presentable, you want to look entertaining, you want to, you know, you got your outfits got to be creative. It's more about your entertainer value, your talent. What do you look like on that stage? Is it interesting? Is it whack? Is it boring? It's just not rooted in you being feminine. It's rooted in your entertainment value. That's why it's Entertainer of the Year. And then we have a bunch of black pageants. They're not exclusive to the girls, but if you fish, you gonna win it. They're partial to beauty. So if you can get up there and rock and sock them, you know, you can win. Oh, honey, you know I know about the drag stuff, girl. You know I'm a drag connoisseur, baby. So, being that, you know, the RuPaul not having them on the show, it's a spit in our face, especially if you're trying to what you're positioning yourself as you are now positioning yourself as the drag, what is it called when you position yourself as the expert, or you are positioning your Drag Race has positioned itself as the cutting edge in drag. And so if you erasing the girls out of that narrative, out of the history, out of the artistry, I've been trying to organize a show about this, but what y'all do, like everything that is a staple of drag, what wasn't touched or affected or inspired, that didn't have a trans woman a part of that inspiration? I don't understand it. All the top the drag girls are trans. Who is not? There might be a few boy queens like RuPaul, but that's a whole different how he got there. Yes, the tracks of Bali. Yes. You have put yourself in this position. And so I think it's irresponsible, it's erasure, it's disrespectful. I think that's whack. And so them bringing on the show, the CNN show, like really pointing that out. They didn't point that out, but showing the difference, showing a trans woman who is doing drag and who is a part of that. I think it's trash. I think that's trash, and that's why I don't watch Drag Race. I don't watch it because of that. I think I watched the first couple of seasons because I thought at one point, I was trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. I thought at one point that he would have pulled. I thought he was gonna pull like a I know I'm not producing a show on the level of that, but I produce content, and so I know there's strategy. When I have things planned in my mind of how I'm gonna do a show, there's a strategy of how I'm gonna what order I'm gonna put these things out. Particularly like when we like on in our October that month, I pre-record things to do, and so I'm gonna be planning how to put things out. So I was giving RuPaul the benefit of the doubt, and I thought that he was eventually gonna do all trans drag queens. That would have been amazing to me. Like if he would have did like season 5 or season 4. You remember when because this is like a top model s type show. You remember when Tyra Banks did that all short models, or she did these little really specific type of model things just to do, it was like a gimmick for the show. I thought that RuPaul was going to do that. I thought that he was gonna, especially after the backlash, after there was a really specific backlash about you are not, instead of him doubling down, I didn't think he was going to double down. I thought he was going to keep silent about it. And then bam, season 5, season 4, this one of the earlier seasons, it's going to be nothing but trans drag queens. Just to honor them a little bit. Do you know how that would have shut everybody up? Even if he didn't do it any other time. There have been some people on there now, but I don't even think that it is. I just, I don't do drag, so I'm not as invested as other girls are, but I think it's disrespectful. So yeah, I like that they showed that, but I also like that they showed her and her mother, somebody who, and she even said it, the girl on the show, she on CNN, she says, I'm closer to my mother now than I was before. And that was like, yeah, I understood that as well. Because when you have an accepting, there's a difference when before you come out, you kind of scared and you can't get close to people and you become this loner type of person. Yes. RuPaul ain't here for the girls, right? But he added our trans brother and still keep the girl out. And Vanessa, I feel like that was a direct, a petty slap to the face. I think that was, I think that was his way of, oh, you bitches want to be cute? Let me get cute back. I ain't gonna have no trans women on here. But since y'all want to get cute and had caused all this problems about me not having trans women on here, I'm gonna put a trans man. Now, I'm not saying that there ain't no drag kings out here, but come on. Really? Come on. That to me, that was a smack in the face. That was a petty. That was so the gays who've been defending RuPaul can say, see, now it's a trans person on there. Girl, get out of here. Get out of here, bitch. Don't play in our motherfucking face. And that was a play in our face. I don't care what nobody say. Because come to find out, the trans man was his personal makeup artist. Yeah, I think that was that's playing in our face. That's oh, y'all want to be cute. Let me show y'all how cute I can be. Because honey, this is my show. I make the rules. But yeah, that's why I never watch this shit. I don't watch that shit at all. Fuck out of here. All right. And so then what else happened after that? That was the end. And then the Malaysia Booker situation. So I love how they show. I love how ratchet Malaysia Booker was. I think, people like to clean up the narrative. People like to clean up. And what people don't understand is Malaysia was a firecracker. That's why she was twirling them motherfucking niggas. Cause no, you're not gonna disrespect me. We gonna have to twirl. Y'all gonna have to jump me, cause I'm gonna show you what these hands is like, and you gonna need your homies to jump in. Yeah, y'all gonna have, it's gonna have to take 6 of y'all motherfuckers to jump me. But cause everybody ain't out here. Woe is me. Every trans woman ain't out here. Oh, oh, Ike, I'm sorry, Ike. You're not gonna hit me, Ike. No, every woman ain't out here like that. We be out here twirling these niggas. We might not win all the time. A lot of times we do. But I didn't, we fight, the ones I know. And so I like that they show she was a firecracker. She wasn't just some, I'm respectable. I'm not gonna cuss. I'm talking a certain way. All that shit. She was who she was. And I love that about her. And I loved that they showed her in that way, that non-respectable way. They showed the videos of her talking and shared those experiences. I really enjoyed that. I really enjoyed how they showed the story. It was a beautiful thing. I know it's only an hour. I wish they would have touched on the city officials' responses to her murder, because it was a positive and negative. The beauty about Malaysia Booker's story after she passed, other than just her story, Black Trans Women's Inc., led by Monica Roberts, Dee Dee Waters, they lobbied in Austin, and one of the senators, the House representatives and senators, actually sent a resolution to be read at Malaysia Booker's funeral. That was also read in the House of Representatives at the legislating house in Texas. which had never been done. A black trans woman being mentioned on the floor. So she had a senator. Look, you don't see that. You don't see that often. You don't, it was impactful in a way that I thought was quite beautiful. I wish they would have pointed that out. I wish they would have showed that. Um, that was the positive. So there was some real people who were stepping up and doing what they were supposed to do in regards to that situation. And then there was some negative. There was some um, how they were handling the dude who murdered her. All that shit. How the lawyers on his side petitioned to not call her a she because she was a he. And he didn't want people to sympathize with her womanhood by calling her she when she was a he. This is what he was trying to do in the courts. And the judge was like, nigga, get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. We is not gonna misgender her in this case. Get out of here. But the lawyer was trying it. I hate that it takes death to be acknowledged in that manner. Yeah. Somebody I need to block. That's the only negative about being on like TV. Motherfuckers getting your mentions and you got to block them, baby. But the Bible and the stories of Jesus Christ set the tone. You ain't great till you're gone. Facts. Well, technically. I'm trying to get a special guest on. Yes. New people being annoying. But yes, I think how it was discussed on the show, it was beautiful and it was good. Definitely, definitely, definitely good. Um, yeah, I love the experience. Like as far as how they treated us, we didn't have to we didn't have to go through anything like any weird shit that you normally sometimes have to go through when it comes to being on a show. Um, they definitely treated us like Like they knew what they were doing. So I love the experience. They had rented out a coffee shop with nobody in there fucking with us. Not that they would have been fucking with us, but they rented out the coffee shop where the coffee shop closed down so they can record with us. um, yeah, yes, definitely. I just had to tell somebody that, child, not to change subject, but the Mexican lady that dried my clothes today wore it out like I've never had in my life. Oh, send me her stuff. She might have. I need a new housekeeper. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. For the people who watched it, what was some of y'all favorite parts? We got about 20 minutes, and then I'm gonna start it over, and then talk about what we were talking about earlier. Then he was sitting in the chair at the corner store outside with Miss Thing. I cackled a little bit. Sitting in the chair at corner store. I don't remember that part. Towards the end, sitting out there at the corner store. I can't remember. mm. But yeah, it was a great experience. I'm glad that they had it. They did it beautifully. I'm not disappointed at all. Do I want them to share our whole conversation? Hell yeah, because we had some fire ass conversation, but it wasn't about me. We was getting into the nitty gritty about patriarchy and white supremacy, baby. We was having him dumbfounded. We was pulling all kinds of stuff. I hope he shared a bonus video, so y'all can check that out on Twitter. But I don't know if he put it on his. Let me see if he put it on Twitter. Mm-mm. Yes, love it, 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 love it. There were four. Three have surge. Brooklyn doesn't. He married to a white woman, so is he? I didn't know that. Work. I can see that though. I get that. If you is he? Oh yeah. I see, I see, I see. Work. Ended up having to work, but I have the CNN and HBO Max app, so I will watch it there. I was looking forward to watching it live though. Yeah, just check it out. They're gonna rerun it like they always do. I love it. I'm excited. I wasn't disappointed at all. I think what we I think what I'm looking forward to as I get older, I'm looking forward to when we are out of the stage of talking about trans women as an introduction to our lives. When we get past the introduction, like we are introducing, I feel like where we're at now, we are introducing you to how our life goes or just some stuff that you may I feel like we're still in teaching mode. I want to get to a point where we are sharing stories and things that it's not revolved around our trauma. I'm ready to um I'm ready to share the nuances because sometimes people are scared to share the ugly parts of our lives. And I'm not talking about the death and violence and da da da, da but you know, you know, they want to depict. Oh, Brandon, it's on now. It's rerunning now, Brandon. If you want to watch it live, it's rerunning on the show now. They, like I said, they're rerunning it, so you can watch it. It's like it's just now coming on. So yeah. So, I want to tell stories. I want to do what Insecure is doing. I want to do what Issa Rae is doing for the black girl. If I had unlimited amount of money and um I can do what I want. I would want to do what Issa Rae is doing for the black girl. Like she's just sharing, you know, I just feel like she is I don't know. I want to do what she's doing. She's telling stories in a funny, regular, degular way. I want to tell friendship stories. I want to tell the complicated part. I want to have nuanced characters. I just don't want to be the victim. I want to share, things that I think trans women do that are not as respectable and not just, like escorting or super shit like that. I'm talking about like, some of the games that can be played that can that can be complicated. Um, I wanna yeah, I wanna know about the girls. Hmm. Yeah, I just want to girl, she's about to be the new Spider Woman in the new universe. I'm overwhelmed. Who, Issa Rae? That would be cool. Um, but yeah, I wish I just wish I had. I just wish I could produce. I'm about to produce something. Somebody hired me recently. They just sent me the contract to produce something. It's not a lot of money as far as like the budget, but I'm they hired me to produce a conversation, um, a video, a recorded video conversation between trans women and cisgender men, and the whole goal is to kind of discuss through the issues, um, and then sit and have a conversation. Issa is Spider Woman. Interesting. That's cool. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I would love to. Um, we need a trans Issa. Yeah, but Issa had to get some money behind her, so yeah, I would love that. But but yeah, I would love to. I would love to produce something like that. I would love to. There's so many stories, and not just y'all know I got tons of stories in me, but there's tons of stories that I know, like that happened with other girls. I didn't go through them; other girls went through them, and that that are powerful. And I just would love to. There's so much stuff that I have. I've been on this motherfucker for 12 years, and there's so much stuff that I haven't. Literally, most of the stories that I have told y'all happened before I was 20. Most of them, or definitely before 25. I haven't really got into all my stories in my 20s. The Love Beneath could be a TV series, movie series. Yeah, it could. Um, but stuff I just started talking about my escorting experience. Um, but most of my 20s I haven't talked about. Some little things, but most of it I haven't. Do you think that there could be a popular show like Pose for the trans community without gay men? Yes, I do. If it's well written and it is, you know, really, really intentional about being well written. But I don't. Let me just keep it real, Shonette. I don't see gay men as a negative. We are in each other's community. I don't know no trans woman that at some point in her life had no gay men in her community at all. So them being there isn't really. I didn't think that that was a crux of Pose. I don't find gay men to be uh um I don't know how to explain it. I didn't think of them as a crux. I think they centered black trans women. Did they tell a black gay male story? Yes. But I think the center was black trans women. Especially, and I think I love that they showed the beauty of a friendship between a black trans woman and a gay man, because I think that is a beautiful coupling, not romantic coupling, but a coupling of that's true to life. We need the gay men to stand up for us, pull us up on the ladder, and not take up all the space and demand all the credit. Hmm. Um, I think that as allies, that should be being done, period. But I don't see that happening all the time. There are moments when they are not taking up space and they are putting us in position of success. There are incidents when they are not. There are incidents when um they need to go sit their ass down. Um but I don't think that is you know, I think everybody should be doing that. I don't think that's just gay men. I think that should be cis women. I think that should be any ally should be doing that. That is what you're supposed to do if you're an ally. Disperse them resources, put people in a position to tell their stories, and don't take up space. I don't think that's just a gay men thing. I think that's all allies, period. If you're invested in dismantling transphobia, they all should be doing it. Every single one. In wherever they are. Not just Hollywood. Um all of the every situation. Like if you're at work and don't know trans people work there, why not? Are you making the place safe for trans people to work? Um the clips from San Francisco, yes, they did. Um yeah, I love those too. Yeah, I think that everybody should be doing that. Anyway, I lost my train of thought. But yeah, they all should be doing that. Yes, because of Pose, Dominique said she's been approached about a lecture spinoff show. This last season had major hype around her character. And Lena even said they should explore that more. Yeah, I want something new. I want something totally new. I don't want I don't want I don't want a Pose spinoff. I want something totally new, fresh batch of people. I want something totally new. I want another. I don't want. We don't need another Pose. I don't need it. I don't need to explore the characters more. I want something else. I want something new stories, new characters, new actresses. I want everything. I want more girls. I want more stories. I want new everything, fresh talent, everything new. Nothing nothing recycled. I want new actresses. I want new everything. I want to get out of ballroom. Yes, I want to get out of ballroom. I don't want ballroom. Um I want it to be something. I don't know. I want a romantic comedy. I want to see a romantic comedy. I want to see. I would love to see. Okay, boom. I would love to see. I want to explore love. I want to explore love more. There was some elements of Pose that explore love, but I want more complicated stories um around um love and friendship. Yes. That's what I want to see. I want I want more romantic stories. Follow follow four trans women. Give us a girlfriends or a waiting to excel type of, give us a remember when stunting and writing checks was a whole lifestyle when it wasn't as popular as a stunt? Give me how give me some type of set it off where you exploring the friendship of 4 trans women. Um, give me some kind of I don't want no savior. So like when we think about Elektra character, the mob kind of came in and saved her. No, not the whole story, but it's almost like they came in and helped her become this success that she is now. I want you to show me a story of trans women who hustled their way into now they home ownership. I literally know trans women who they hustled their way into a status, a comfort out of, it's I just know this. I want relationships. Yeah, that's what I want. I want a golden girls. No, I don't think trans women get old. Hold on, let me rephrase that. They do get old, but in I've never seen trans women who get old that live together in that setting. I've seen, I know Miss Major has lived with another girl, but getting older, I haven't seen that yet. Not that it can't be a story told. It doesn't have to be totally rooted in reality, but I ain't ready for that yet. Not the Golden Girls. I want to see, give me girlfriends. If we're on some series type of shit, give me girlfriends with trans women. I would love to explore that. Um, give me some type of girlfriends. Give me some type of I would love a romantic comedy would be fire too. Give me the trans Moonlight. Living Single would be cute. Give me the trans Moonlight. We're already seeing characters that just so happen to be trans, or characters that just so happen to their transness is not just centered on the situation. When we look at like when Trace was in Hustle, a trans Moonlight, yeah, I think that would be great. When Trace was in Hustle, they didn't bring up Trace transness at all. They didn't bring up her transness. They were she was just one of the girls. She could be trans, could be not. We know she trans, but we don't know. They didn't bring up Trace's transness at all. They didn't bring it up in the sense of it was a focal point. But that the club that they were talking about, Trace worked at legitimately in her real life. So she fully experienced what they were talking about in this movie. She's fully experienced that. And so, I thought that was a beautiful thing. India is going through there is a movie about y'all know the popular escape rooms and shit. There's about to be a movie about escape rooms that's like they do a real life escape room, like it's like a horror film like Saw, and they do a real life escape room where motherfuckers are getting killed in the space. And so she's playing a character in that movie. And I don't know if her transness, if she's trans in the movie, but she has a movie coming out. India. I want trans fantasy, space oddity, magical powers, flying folks, all of that. Like anything but ballroom, anything but trauma. I don't want to I want drama, but I don't want trauma, just focused trauma. I think we got that with Pose. I think we know we have told the narrative about HIV, we have told the narrative about the girls getting murdered. Great. I want to see some joy. I want to see some. Yes, I don't want it to be fantasy, but I want it to be. I like. I'm okay with fantasy, but I don't want it to not be if it's a fantasy genre. But if we're telling like true stories, like I don't want it to all be just death. Like I'm telling you, it's death happens, but it's not, my life is not centered around. I missed the first hour of the live. Do you already tell the story you didn't have time to tell before the CNN special? No, I haven't. I just wanted this to be about the CNN and trans stuff, and then it's 2 hours now, so I'm about to do it. Um, um, yes, I haven't told the story. I'm gonna tell it. Um, but yes, I would want next steps um in the media genre. I just would want more. I want to explore love. I wanted to explore the complications of love. I want to explore the unique complications of love. You very, very unique to us. Um I want to explore the the complicated relationships when we're all really trying to survive and trying to be in community, but also trying to survive and also trying to be friends. And then you add the competitive. I just would want to show, I would want people to show stayed up well past my bedtime. Yes, be good. Sleep, sleep, sleep. Story time to tuck us in at night. I mean, you are too kind and we love you for it. Thank you. I want action and legit acting. Yes, yes. I want, now that we know the girls can act and the girls, let's get some girls that, you know, can do their thing with some good writing. Yes. But all right. Yes, I'm so happy that y'all, if y'all watched it, that y'all liked the CNN special. No Tyler Perry shit. We'll use the studios though. Right. Um, but yes. So all right, I'm gonna close this out, go get me some water, go pee, and then I'm gonna come back and start the live again so we can talk about what I was talking about earlier. So all right, thank y'all for watching. Thumbs up, and I will be back in a couple of minutes. Thanks, William H. Bell, William Kamal Bell, for putting us on the show and doing it so well. That's what's up. All right, see y'all later.